I don't want you at the wedding. That's what my daughter said. No warning. No apology. Just that, like I was some stranger off the street. 30 years. I worked double shifts, skipped vacations, missed birthdays. Also, she could have braces, dance lessons, that overpriced college she cried about getting into. I paid for it all, every damn dime. And now, I'm not even welcome to see her walk down the aisle. She stood there in my kitchen, holding a Starbucks like it was just another Tuesday. I asked why. She shrugged. It's just not your day. Her mother, the ex-wife I put through nursing school, stood behind her. Silent. Smug. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just looked at the folded wedding invoice on the table. My name on the check. It wasn't my day? Fine. Let's see what happens when Daddy stops paying for everyone's fantasy. And the best part? I watched it all fall apart in real time, right from my front porch. I work with my hands. Always have. Always will. Framing, drywall, patching busted plumbing when my buddy Todd's kid flushes a Hot Wheels down the toilet again. That kind of work. I don't wear a suit. Don't carry a briefcase. But I've always made enough to keep the lights on and food in the fridge. Got this little place on the edge of town. 3 bedrooms. Old oak tree in the yard. Mortgages almost paid off. I keep the lawn mowed and the gutters clean. My garage smells like sawdust and motor oil, and that's how I like it. I'm not flashy. Never have been. But when my daughter Katie was born, I promised her something. You'll never go without. And I meant it. Even when her mom walked out, I kept that promise. Katie's 30 now. Smart girl. Strong-willed. Maybe too much like her mom in that way. She teaches 3rd grade and drives a little gray Toyota with a cracked bumper that I've patched up twice. Says she doesn't need a man to fix her car, but she still calls me when the engine light comes on. She used to call me Daddy. Then just Dad. Now it's mostly, hey. Still, I figured we were good. Turns out I was wrong. I started noticing the change about a year ago. Thanksgiving. I made the turkey. Mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce from a can like she likes it. Table set, football on in the background. I even cleaned out the garage fridge to make room for leftovers. She showed up 2 hours late with that fiancé of hers, Brandon. Brandon with a fake laugh and loafers. Brandon who thinks he's too good for beer from a can. Brandon who called my house quaint. Sorry, she said, brushing past me. We stopped at his parents first. They were barely in the door before she started making excuses. We can't stay long. We've got a thing. I just nodded. She didn't notice I'd carved her name into a little wooden place card. Didn't touch the stuffing she always used to fight her cousins over. Barely made eye contact. Then she said, you don't need to do all this next year. We'll probably just host something small. Something small. At their condo. With his parents. I tried not to take it personally. I really did. But Christmas rolled around, and it got worse. She mailed a card. Didn't even stop by. Inside was a picture of her and Brandon at some ski resort. No note. No love you. Just Merry Christmas from the future Mr. and Aunt. Mrs. I sat there, alone on the couch, holding that card. The house was too quiet. Her stocking still hung on the mantel, same one she'd had since she was 5. Red with a felt reindeer stitched on crooked by her little hands. It hung there empty, like it was waiting for her to come back. Then came the real kicker. One afternoon in March, Katie shows up out of nowhere. She's all smiles, holding a wedding binder thick enough to choke a horse. I need help, she said. Just some advice. I sat down with her. We talked centerpieces, food, band versus DJ. I was all in. Just happy to be included. Then she flipped to the back. The budget page. I'm thinking we do the ceremony at Rosewood Barn. It's a little pricey, but it's so me, you know. I nodded. Let's see what we can do. That night, I looked over the numbers. Took a deep breath. Cashed out an old savings bond I'd been sitting on. Called the venue. Put down the deposit. She never said thank you. Just texted me the next morning. Venue's confirmed Brandon says hi. No, love you. No, thanks for bailing me out. Just that dumb emoji. A week later, I ran into her mom at Walmart. We don't talk much. Not since the divorce. But she gave me the smirk like she knew something I didn't. You helping out with the wedding? She asked, all casual. I nodded. Little bit. She chuckled. Little bit? Honey, you're footing the whole thing. I blinked. Excuse me. She leaned in. They've got you covering the venue, the catering, the flowers, and the photographer. Brandon's dad's just paying for the honeymoon. Said it was only fair, since he's actually invited. I just stood there, next to a stack of discounted lawn chairs, trying to remember how to breathe. That night, I called Katie. Hey, quick question. Yeah, what's up? Am I invited to this wedding? She went quiet. Then she said, Dad, it's complicated. My voice got low. Complicated how? She sighed. It's just. Brandon and I talked about it. His family's super traditional. And we just thought maybe it's better if it's smaller, cleaner. Cleaner? I felt something cold in my chest. You mean without me? Silence. Then I love you, Dad. I really do. But this day, it's about us. And you can be a lot sometimes. It's not personal. Not personal. I paid for the roof over their heads, but I was a lot. I didn't argue. Didn't yell. I just sat there in my truck, parked outside the hardware store, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing holding me together. There was a wedding invoice in my glove box. My name on every line. Deposit paid. Balance due in 30 days. My daughter didn't want me there, but she had no problem spending my money. And that's when something inside me shifted. You ever feel a storm roll in before it hits? The way the air gets heavy and the wind goes still? That was me. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew I was done being the fool in the corner. 2 weeks went by. No calls. No texts. Not even a forwarded meme. Just me, sitting in my garage, sipping gas station coffee and staring at that wedding invoice like it owed me something. Balance due, $14,870. Due date, April 15th. Name on file, mine. You ever look at a piece of paper and feel it mocking you? It just sat there. Smug. Cold. Official. That money was supposed to go toward redoing the roof. Maybe take a fishing trip up to Michigan. Something for me for once. But no. Katie had big dreams, and I was the checkbook with a pulse. I tried not to stew in it. I really did. But then came the group chat. It was a Saturday morning. I was on the porch, oiling the hinges on the screen door when my phone buzzed. Group text, Wedding Weekend Warriors. I opened it. First message was from Katie. Hi guys. Here's the schedule for the bridal shower and rehearsal dinner. So excited. Second message for Mom. Can't wait to celebrate with everyone. Gonna be beautiful. Brandon's sister. Booked my hotel. Let's go. Then a message from Brandon's dad. We'll cover Friday dinner. Should be a good turnout. Looks like about 46 people so far. 46. They were planning the whole thing. Without me. I scrolled up. My number was accidentally added, probably by mistake. I waited. No one noticed I was in there. No one said a word. So I replied. Just 2 words, I'm out. Left the group. No one followed up. I drove over to the Rosewood barn that afternoon. Walked right into the office. The coordinator, young woman, looked barely out of college, gave me a bright smile. You must be Mr. Callahan. Katie's dad, right? I nodded. That's me. You're all set. We just need the rest of the payment by next Friday and you're golden. I looked around at the empty barn, the string lights being tested overhead, the little chalkboard sign that said love grows here. Then I asked, what happens if I don't pay? She blinked. Sorry, what happens if I don't pay the balance? She shifted in her chair. Well, we canceled the booking, and the deposit is non-refundable. I nodded. Good to know. Then I thanked her and walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't yell. Just left that storm behind me like a ghost in the rafters. The next few days, I kept myself busy. Fixed the fence. Helped Todd's kid install a new dishwasher. Tried to keep my mind off things. Didn't work. Wednesday night, I pulled out an old photo album. Katie at 6, missing teeth, standing on a folding chair to stir cookie dough. Katie at 13, rolled eyes and braces, arms crossed on a Disney trip. Katie at 17, holding her diploma in front of the local high school gym, proud and sunburned. Then I turned the page and saw that one. Her and me. On the tailgate of my truck. She's maybe 5. Covered in paint from that time we redid the playhouse in the backyard. I'm holding a juice box. She's stealing it. I stared at that photo for a long time. And then I heard the beep of a message. It was her. Katie. No, hey dad. No greeting. Just, do you still have the catering invoice? Brandon's mom needs the totals. Not please. Not, can you send it? Just an order. I stared at that message for a good 5 minutes. Like it would change. Then I replied, no. I shredded it. She wrote back fast. Wait, what? I didn't answer. 15 minutes later, she called. I let it ring. Then again. Then a third time. Finally, I picked up. What's going on? She snapped. Why are you acting like this? I kept my voice calm. Cold. Like what? You said you'd help. I said I'd help with your wedding. You told me I wasn't invited. So I'm out. She was quiet for a beat. Then, that's not fair. I laughed. No. What's not fair is paying for a party I'm not welcome at. You don't understand. It's complicated. No, Katie. It's actually real simple. The next day, her mother called. And unlike Katie, she wasn't quiet. You're seriously pulling out now? Do you have any idea what this will do to her? I was back in the garage, wrench in hand. I wiped my hands on a rag and held the phone between my shoulder and ear. She said I wasn't wanted. She was emotional. You know how she gets. Then maybe she shouldn't plan a wedding like a business merger. There was a pause. Then she said, low and venomous, she's cutting you out of the ceremony because of this behavior. You're proving her right. That stung. Not because she was right, but because part of me wondered if Katie believed it. That weekend, I saw Brandon at the gas station. He didn't see me at first. He was filling up that shiny Lexus of his, talking loud on Bluetooth. I heard him clear as day. Yeah, the venue's a done deal. Her dad's paying. It's locked in. Worst case, we're on the hook for the honeymoon, which is like, whatever. He laughed. Whatever. Like all I'd done was cover a pizza. I walked past him slow. Made sure he saw me. He stopped mid-sentence. Oh, hey, Mr. Callahan. I nodded. Brandon. We stared at each other. Then I said, you might want a backup plan. He blinked. For what? You'll see. Then I got in my truck and drove off. That was the moment. Right there in that parking lot next to Pump 7. That was the moment I knew exactly what I was going to do. The wedding was in 3 weeks. I still had the power. And they didn't even realize it. You ever feel like your own blood forgot you exist? It's not a sharp pain. Not like a knife. It's dull. Slow. A rot that creeps in over time until one day you wake up and realize you've been erased. That's what it felt like. I wasn't angry at first. I was just stunned. I spent 3 decades trying to be the one constant in Katie's life. Through the split. Through her teenage tantrums. Through the years she wouldn't speak to her mom and came to me for everything. And now, 3 weeks out from her wedding, I was a ghost with a bank account. It started getting weird when the rehearsal dinner invitations went out. I didn't get one. Her mother did. Brandon's cousin from Tallahassee got one. Even Todd's ex-wife's sister got one. Not me. I texted Katie. Did I miss my invite? She replied 2 hours later. Rehearsal is just for the wedding party, Dad. Nothing personal. Right. Nothing personal. Just like the actual wedding. Just like everything now. I typed out a reply, deleted it. Typed another, deleted that too. What was the point? They already decided I was more useful in the shadows. The next Sunday, I stopped by my buddy Rick's place to help with a busted ceiling fan. He hands me a beer and says, you must be proud. Your girl's wedding gonna be one for the books, huh? I gave him a polite nod. Took a sip. Then he says, saw the announcement in the paper. Real nice photo. You weren't in it though. I turned. What photo? He shrugs. The engagement spread. Full page. Says Brandon's parents are hosting the event at Rosewood. Didn't even mention you. Didn't even mention me. I finished the beer. Didn't say much after that. Later that night, I looked up the announcement online. Sure enough, there it was. Big headline. Future Mr. and Amp. Mrs. Preston to wed in spring ceremony. Brandon's dad got a full paragraph. His mom too. Katie's father? Not a word. Like I never existed. I kept quiet. Didn't call her. Didn't lash out. But something in me was boiling. Slow, steady. I'd already paid over 9 grand. And they still wanted more. The final balance was due in a week. Almost 5 grand. You'd think maybe they'd pick up the phone. Say something. Anything. Nope. Then, a few nights later, I got a voicemail from Katie. Her voice was chipper. Too chipper. Hi, Dad. Just wanted to check in. Hope you're doing okay. We're working on the final headcount and the florist needs confirmation on the arrangement sizes. So if you could call me back, that'd be awesome. Thanks. Click. No mention of the rehearsal. No apology for the article. No warmth. Just, we need you to keep writing checks. 2 days later, I went to visit Katie's aunt, my sister Linda. She'd been watching this all unfold quietly, but that day, she broke her silence. You know, she said, handing me coffee, I overheard Katie talking at Mom's birthday dinner. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah, she nodded. Said something like, Dad's not really part of the image we're going for. It's just easier this way. I felt that sentence in my bones. Not part of the image. That's what I was now. A blemish. A liability to be managed. I wasn't her father. I was a PR problem. And worse, she wasn't even hiding it anymore. Then came the final straw. The week before the wedding. I got a formal letter in the mail. Actual envelope. Return address said Preston Events, LLC. Inside was a printed statement. Very professional. Very cold. Dear Mr. Callahan, this letter serves to formally acknowledge the generous contributions you have made to the upcoming Callahan Preston wedding. At this time, the couple has opted to proceed with a streamlined guest list for the sake of intimacy and tradition. Your presence, while appreciated, will not be required at the ceremony or reception. We thank you for your understanding. I read it twice. Then again, not required. Like I was a caterer they forgot to fire. I folded the letter, set it on the kitchen table, just sat there for a long time, listening to the refrigerator hum. That night, I pulled out the last invoice. I looked at the due date. Then I looked at the calendar. 3 days to go. They really thought I was gonna do it. Keep paying. Keep quiet. Keep disappearing. Well, I had other plans. The next day, I called the venue. Spoke to the same girl I had weeks ago. I gave my name. I gave the account number. And then I said, calmly, I'd like to cancel the remaining balance. She went quiet. You want to cancel? That's right. Sir, that means I know what it means. A pause. Then she asked, would you like to notify the party? I smiled. No. I think they'll figure it out. I hung up. Then I walked outside. It was sunny. Windy. The kind of spring day that smells like grass and old memories. I looked at the oak tree in the front yard. Same one Katie used to climb. Same one I hung a tire swing from when she was 6. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. I was done begging to be in a life I built. Let them figure it out. Let them scramble. The storm was coming, and they invited it. 3 days before the wedding, Katie finally showed up. Unannounced. I heard her car pull into the driveway, tires crunching the gravel like they were chewing something. She didn't knock. Just walked in like she still lived there. Like this was still her house. She looked around like she barely recognized it. Smells like sawdust, she said. I didn't bother replying. I just kept washing the coffee mug in a sink. Dad, she said, can we talk? I dried the mug. Set it down. She stood there in her little white jacket, arms folded, like I was the one with something to answer for. She didn't sit. She just jumped right in. So I talked to the venue. They said the balance was due. I told them you'd already paid it. But I canceled it, I said. Her mouth hung open. What? I canceled the balance. Told them not to expect another cent. Why would you do that? I looked her dead in the eyes. Because I'm not invited. She scoffed. That's not the point. It's my wedding. Exactly. Your wedding. Not mine. You promised? No, I cut in. You promised. Promised you'd always be my girl. Promised I'd be part of your life. She blinked. Just for a second, I saw the kid in her. The little girl with paint on her overalls and peanut butter on her face. Then she hardened. This is so petty, Dad. No, I said. What's petty is sending a formal letter to your own father like he's a hired contractor. That's petty. Her face twisted. Brandon's mom wrote that. Not me. And you let her. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Then she just said, "This isn't about you." That was it. That line. I looked at her. Really looked. This was the same kid who cried in my truck when she didn't make the volleyball team. Who fell asleep on my shoulder during thunderstorms. Who used to call me from college just to hear my voice. And now? Now I was nothing but a wallet with a last name. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. But I said this, you made your decision. Now you live with it. She stormed out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. Next morning, I got a call from my sister Linda. She was livid. Did you really cancel the wedding payment? I did. She took a breath. Well, brace yourself. That's when she told me. Katie went online. Not just a little Facebook status. No. She posted a full story on Instagram. A story where she painted me as the villain. Said her biological father backed out at the last second. Said he was bitter and jealous and couldn't handle seeing her move on. She even wrote, "Toxic people don't deserve a seat at your table, even if they gave you life." That was the knife. Right in the heart. My own daughter. Telling the world I was toxic. That I was deadweight she'd finally shaken off. I stared at the screenshot Linda sent me. I must have read it 20 times. Toxic people don't deserve a seat at your table. 30 years of sacrifices. And now I was a cautionary tale with a beard. The comments were worse. Her friends cheered her on. Proud of you for setting boundaries, real queens don't bow to guilt. Ugh, dads can be so manipulative. You don't owe him anything. I wanted to scream. Instead, I turned off my phone, walked out into the garage, and stared at the empty space where her swing used to be. All those years. All those late nights fixing flat tires and covering rent during grad school and patching up the drywall in that first apartment she flooded. And now, I was a hashtag. I sat in my truck for a long time. Didn't go anywhere. Just sat. Hands on the steering wheel. Knuckles white. I thought about the time she broke her wrist falling off the monkey bars and clung to my arm like it was a life raft. I thought about the way she used to slip little notes into my lunchbox when she was 10. Then I thought about her calling me toxic. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just disrespect. This wasn't just ingratitude. This was erasure. She wanted me gone. So fine. She was going to get exactly what she wanted. You know that saying? Never go to war with someone who's got nothing to lose? Yeah, they should have stitched that onto the wedding invitations. Because I had nothing left. Not my pride. Not my spot at the wedding. Not even a seat at the rehearsal dinner. But I had something better. Leverage. That evening I made a few calls. To the photographer. To the caterer. To the florist. To the shuttle service. Guess whose name was on every contract? Mine. Guess who hadn't paid the balances yet? Me. Guess who now wanted to reschedule or cancel entirely? Also me. Some of them were confused. Some annoyed. A few were polite about it. But they all said the same thing in the end. Totally understand. We'll let them know. I just nodded. Please do. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just withdrew. Like a quiet tide that takes the whole shoreline with it. Let her explain to her in-laws why the flowers didn't show. Let Brandon tell his guests why the food trucks never pulled up. Let the photographer show up late because they thought the date had changed. Let them all figure it out. Because I was done being the man behind the curtain. Let them feel the weight of what I used to carry. And the best part? They still hadn't figured it out. Not yet. But the wedding was tomorrow. And the cracks were already showing. The day after Katie's post, I didn't eat. Didn't sleep much either. Just sat in the garage, lights off, watching the dust dance in the sunlight like tiny ghosts. It smelled like old wood, gasoline, and betrayal. There was an empty chair in the corner. Used to be hers. Little thing I built out of scrap when she was 7. She'd sit in it while I worked, swinging her legs, asking me questions about everything. Now it just sat there. Quiet. Pointless. Like me. But here's the thing. I'm not a vindictive man. Never have been. But there comes a point when a father stops hoping his child will do the right thing and starts teaching them what happens when they don't. She wanted me erased? Fine. Let's see what happens when all the invisible things I've done suddenly stop existing too. I started simple. The catering. Big, fancy operation out of a town 2 hours away. Fusion menu, vegan options, past hors d'oeuvres, whatever the hell that means. Called them up. Hi, this is Michael Callahan. I'm calling about the Preston Callahan wedding this Saturday. Unfortunately, we need to cancel. Sir, are you sure? Very. Pause. I see your name is on the contract, but the bride's mother just confirmed details last week. I didn't blink. Well, she's not the one paying for it, is she? No, sir. Then consider this official notice. They hesitated. There's a cancellation fee. I read the fine print. You'll be hearing from my attorney if you charge me for services not rendered. Another pause. We'll notify the client. Please do. Click. Then came the florist. Small shop. Family owned. I called in the early morning when I knew the owner would still be the one answering. Same routine. Hi, this is Michael Callahan. I need to cancel Saturday's event. Oh, the Preston wedding? That's very last minute. Yup, but the arrangements are nearly done. I'm the one footing the bill. Cancel it. She tried to argue. I stayed calm, flat, professional. By the time she hung up, I could hear the panic in her voice. Good. Let it spread. Next up, transportation. Katie had booked a shuttle service to ferry guests from a hotel to the barn. Guess who guaranteed the contract with his credit card? I called. Mr. Callahan. Everything good for Saturday? No. We're canceling. Just the shuttle? No. Everything. More silence. More scrambling. One by one, I pulled the pins out of the grenade. Midweek, I drove down to the venue. Just to look at it. Rosewood Barn sat at the edge of a big field, all done up with string lights and fake rustic charm. Looked like something out of a bridal magazine. Pretty on the outside, hollow on the inside. Like the whole damn event. I stayed in the truck. Watched through the windshield as some early decorators buzzed around. Then I saw Brandon's mom pacing on her phone. Her voice carried. No, that's not possible. We confirmed the flowers. I don't care who canceled. Just fix it, I smiled. First, Domino had tipped. Later that night, Katie finally texted me. What did you do? No greeting. No question mark. Just panic. I didn't answer. She called next. I watched it ring. Then I turned off the phone. Let her sweat. Let them all sweat. The thing about revenge is, it's not about screaming or throwing plates. It's quiet, patient, a slow-turning wheel. I'd spent years carrying this family, quietly, without thanks. Now they could feel the silence. Let Brandon make phone calls. Let his dad step in with his emergency fund. Let them scramble to book a caterer 3 days before the wedding in a town with 2 barbecue joints and a Subway. Let them try. That Friday, I went fishing. Didn't catch a damn thing. Didn't care. I just sat there by the lake, thermos full of bad coffee, letting the breeze clear my head. It felt good, peaceful, like I'd finally set down a weight I'd carried for too long. Then came the final step. The photographer. She was local, young, sweet, talented, and still unpaid. I reached out. Hey, it's Michael Callahan. Oh, hi. Everything's still on for tomorrow. Nope. Canceling. She sounded heartbroken. Oh no. Was it the couple? They'll tell you a different story. But trust me, it's not your fault. There was a long pause. They told me you weren't involved anymore. I chuckled. They've been saying a lot of things. Another pause. Then, you want me to cancel? I looked out at the lake. No. Show up. Take photos. Of what? I smiled. Whatever mess you walk into. And that's when I realized. I wasn't just ending my role in the wedding. I was documenting their failure. I didn't have to ruin the day. They'd already done that part themselves. All I did was let gravity do what it always does. Pull things back to earth. Tomorrow was the big day. White dress. Open bar. Photographer with no timeline. Guests with no food. Florists missing in action. And one very invisible father, watching from a distance. The morning of the wedding, I made pancakes. Not for anyone else. Just me. Stack of 3. Maple syrup. Extra butter. It was the first Saturday in months I hadn't spent running errands for someone else's dream. No flower pickups. No venue confirmations. No catering crises dumped in my lap with a fake smile and a thanks, Dad. Just peace. And pancakes. Then I sat on the porch, coffee in hand, watching the wind bend the branches of that old oak tree. 12 hours from now, Katie's dream wedding was supposed to be in full swing. Except now it was a slow-motion car crash. And I had the best seat in the house. 8:12 a.m. First call came from Katie's mother. Didn't answer. Voicemail pinged a minute later. Breathless. Angry. Michael, what the hell did you do? The florist isn't showing. The shuttle service says it's canceled. I swear to God, if you don't fix this, delete. I went back inside. Fried up some bacon. 8:47 a.m. Text from Katie. This isn't funny. We need the catering. Brandon's dad is trying to call them, but they said they need to hear from you. Please. Suddenly, I was useful again. Adorable. I didn't reply. 10:03 a.m. Photographer posted an Instagram story. A shot of the empty venue. A caption. Venue's ready. But something feels off. The comments started rolling in. I just sat there. Coffee refill in hand. Watching it all from the porch like a man who finally remembered he has nothing left to lose. Meanwhile, Rosewood Barn was on fire. Not literally, but emotionally. Oh, it was burning down. Brandon's mom called in a new florist. They showed up with mismatched arrangements for half the tables. Someone ran out and bought plastic centerpieces from a dollar store 2 towns over. The original caterer refused to answer calls. Brandon's dad tried to get a barbecue truck to show up last minute. They were already booked for a high school graduation. The result? 40 guests, 1 lukewarm veggie tray, and a DJ who asked 3 times where the couple was. 1:27 p.m. Katie called me. I answered. Let that surprise sink in. Dad, she said, voice trembling. I need your help. I said nothing. We're falling apart here. The florist backed out. The catering's a disaster. We don't have any drinks. Brandon's uncle had to go buy beer from a gas station. Why are you telling me? Because this is your fault. I laughed. It wasn't loud. It was the tired, exhaling kind of laugh that says, there it is. You uninvited me, Katie. I didn't mean it like that. No, it was complicated. No, I said. You made it simple. She went quiet. Then she whispered, do you still have the catering contact? There it was. The last ember of pride flickering out. She didn't want me there. She just wanted what I could give. No, I said. I threw it away. Click. 2 p.m. The guests started arriving. Late. Confused. No signs. No music. No one greeting them. Brandon's cousin tried to organize chairs. He got yelled at by the DJ for moving equipment. Katie was inside, crying in the bridal suite. Brandon was pacing the gravel lot, cursing into his phone. And me? I was in jeans and a flannel in my backyard, grilling burgers. Todd came by around 3. Brought his own 6-pack and a grin. Smells like victory, he said. I handed him a plate. Medium or well? 4:18 p.m. Another call from Katie. Didn't answer. This voicemail I saved. You were supposed to walk me down the aisle. I thought maybe, I don't know. I just thought you'd come anyway. I listened to that one twice. Not because I was second-guessing myself. Because I wanted to remember the sound of her realizing who really held it all together. Mini cliffhanger? Oh, we're here now. 5:12 p.m. A text from Brandon's dad. We're contacting a lawyer. Your actions were deliberate and damaging. You'll hear from us. I stared at it. Then I took a picture of the wedding contract with my name on it. Sent it back with a one-line message. See you in small claims court. Never heard back. By sunset, The wedding was still technically on. Technically. There was a bride in a dress. There were chairs. There was a half-charged Bluetooth speaker playing elevator jazz off someone's iPhone. But no photographer. No cake. No dinner. No real celebration. And, most importantly, no dad walking his daughter down the aisle. As night fell, I walked back into the garage, flipped on the light. There was that little chair in the corner again. Still empty. But for once, it didn't feel like a loss. It felt like a boundary. A line drawn in the sawdust and oil. They'd spent months planning a wedding. I spent 1 week reminding them who made it possible. And tomorrow? Tomorrow they'd wake up to a pile of bills, a mess of blame, and the sound of silence where applause should have been. And the best part? I wasn't even done yet. Sunday morning, the day after the wedding, birds chirping, coffee brewing, front porch quiet. You'd think nothing happened. But I knew better, because by 9 a.m., the texts started coming in. First one, we need to talk. Katie, second, you're unbelievable. You embarrassed her. You embarrassed all of us. Her mother, third, you owe us an explanation. Brandon's dad, I ignored all three. Let them boil. Let them stew. I had work to do. First order of business? Get my receipts in order. I printed every contract, every email, every payment confirmation, venue, caterer, photographer, shuttle, florist, all in my name, all with my money, all proof that they expected me to bankroll a party I wasn't even allowed to attend. Why? Because the next move wasn't silence. It was exposure. I posted on Facebook. Just a short paragraph. Plain, calm, honest. For anyone wondering why I wasn't at my daughter's wedding yesterday, here's the truth. I paid for the venue, the catering, the transportation, the flowers, and more. Then I was told I wasn't invited. So I canceled my payments. Actions have consequences. I wish the couple the best. No ranting, no swearing, no drama, just facts. And attached? Photos of the contracts. Every last one. Signed by me. Stamped. Dated. Undeniable. By noon, it had been shared 312 times. Old coworkers. Neighbors. Parents from Katie's old dance team. Even the pastor who officiated her baptism liked the post. Comments poured in. You did the right thing. She lost the plot. These kids have no respect. Wish my dad had your spine. The tide had turned. And the bride? Suddenly not the victim. 1:47 p.m. Katie showed up. No warning. No call. Just the screech of her tires on my driveway and the slamming of a car door. I opened the front door before she could knock. She looked exhausted. Hair a mess. Makeup smudged. Voice hoarse. You posted about it, she snapped. Yes. You embarrassed me. No. You did that to yourself. You ruined everything. I stepped aside. You want to come in or shout on the porch? She stormed past me. In the kitchen, she dropped her purse on the counter. You don't understand, Dad. Brandon's family thinks we're idiots. They'd be right. She whirled around, eyes wide. Why are you being like this? Like what? Honest? Tired of being treated like a doormat. She blinked. Once. Twice. Then, soft. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You called me toxic, Katie. That was a mistake. No. It was the first thing you said that was honest. She looked like she wanted to cry. But I didn't budge. I just wanted a day that was about me, she whispered. And you got it. No, she snapped. I got a disaster. A cake that never showed. Warm beer. Guests leaving after 30 minutes. Half of them think we faked the whole thing. I sipped my coffee. That's rough. Rough? Dad, this was supposed to be the biggest day of my life. It was. Silence. You just didn't expect it to come with consequences. Mini cliffhanger 1, she sat down at the table. Defeated. I need your help. There it was. The first honest sentence in months. But I wasn't done yet. What kind of help? We have over $8,000 in bills. Brandon's dad refuses to cover it. Says it's our mess. The photographer's demanding partial payment just for showing up. The caterer says we breached contract. We don't know what to do. I raised an eyebrow. You thought you could erase me and still spend my money? She looked down. I waited. Then she whispered, "Can you help us out?" Mini cliffhanger 2. I stood up. Slow. Walked to the counter. Opened the drawer. Pulled out a folded paper. I set it on the table. She looked at it. The check I was going to send before she uninvited me. See that? She nodded. I was ready to cover everything. Give you the perfect day. Her lip trembled. But you wanted me gone. So I took the money with me. She stared at the check like it was a time machine. Something that could undo what she did. But it couldn't. It was just paper now. Void. Just like her version of the truth. She left an hour later. No hug. No, I love you. Just a whispered, "I'll figure it out." I nodded. Good luck. I watched her drive away. Didn't feel triumphant. Didn't feel bitter. Just done. There was nothing left to fix. Nothing left to pay for. Nothing left to carry. For once, I was standing on level ground. And it felt damn good. But I wasn't finished. One last thread to pull. One last surprise they weren't expecting. Monday morning. While the newlyweds were licking their wounds and microwaving leftover veggie trays, I made my final move. Quiet. Deliberate. Unforgiving. They wanted a wedding without me? Now they had everything that came with it. First stop, the credit card company. I disputed every single charge tied to the wedding. Every payment that hadn't been fulfilled, catering, transport, flowers, even the DJ. I had the contracts. I had the receipts. I had the screenshots showing event canceled in bold letters. By noon, 5 transactions were flagged for reversal. The balance? $8,946.71 now hanging over their heads. They wanted independence? Here's the bill. Second stop, small claims court. Not a threat. Not a bluff. An actual filed claim. Defendant, Brandon Preston. Co-defendant, Catherine Callahan. Claim, breach of verbal contract, fraud, and unauthorized use of funds. I stapled copies of every invoice to the form. At the bottom, I added a note. Funds were solicited under the pretense of inclusion. Upon being told I was not welcome, all financial obligations were voided. Plaintiffs continued planning and spending without consent. Let the judge sort it out. Either way, they'd have to show up and explain themselves. In public. On record. With real consequences. By 3 p.m., Katie had called 4 times. Voicemail after voicemail. Dad, please. Don't do this. We can fix it. Just stop. This isn't you. That's where she was wrong. This was me. The version she created. The one who no longer begged for a seat at a table he built. Mini cliffhanger number 1, 6:42 p.m. Brandon showed up at my house. Unannounced. Suit jacket wrinkled. Tie undone. Eyes bloodshot. I opened the door just far enough to let him know I wasn't in the mood. We need to talk, he said. No, you need to leave. Look, I know things got messy. I laughed. He didn't. I just think, maybe we can come to some kind of understanding. You mean like the one where I paid for everything and wasn't invited? He winced. That wasn't my call. No, I said. But you sure as hell didn't stop it. He shifted. Uncomfortable. Then, what do you want, mister? Callahan. There it was. The question. I stepped outside. Looked him right in the eye. I want you to remember this. Every time you open your wallet. Every time you plan something without earning it. Every time you talk about respect. I want you to remember that you burned the bridge that carried you. He said nothing. I went back inside. Door shut. Lock turned. Mini cliffhanger number 2 that night. Katie texted me again. Just one sentence. We're losing everything. I didn't reply, but I read it again. And again. Then I turned off the phone. Let them feel it. The weight. The loss. The silence they built with their own hands. Next day, Linda called. She never gets involved. This time, she couldn't stay out of it. You're shaking the whole damn family tree, she said. Then maybe it's time some branches snapped. She's your daughter. She was. Long pause. Then she asked, do you think she regrets it? I thought about that. The Instagram post. The wedding. The voicemail. I think she regrets not respecting the one man who never stopped showing up. Linda didn't argue. She just said, damn. Wednesday morning. Court papers delivered. Straight to Katie's mailbox. Straight to Brandon's office. Certified mail. Return receipt requested. Let them sign for the mess they made. Let them explain it to their jobs, their neighbors, each other. Mini cliffhanger number 3 Thursday night. I got a letter. Actual paper. Envelope sealed. Handwritten. From Katie. No return address. Just the handwriting I'd recognize anywhere. Inside, you were right. About all of it. I wanted the wedding to be perfect, and somewhere along the way I forgot who made everything possible. I'm sorry. Brandon is furious. His parents cut us off. The venue is demanding damages. We might lose the condo. I know I can't undo what I said. I know I don't deserve your help. But I just wanted you to know, you were never toxic. I was just too proud to admit I still needed my dad. I set the letter on the counter. Stared at it. Felt a lot of things. But forgiveness? Not yet. Let me be clear. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about respect. Dignity. Balance. They stripped mine away for the sake of a photo op and a Pinterest board. And now, they were learning what it feels like to lose something that matters. Tomorrow was the court date. Just a preliminary hearing. Nothing big. Unless you're two newlyweds with no lawyer, no funds, and no one left to cover for you. The same people who once said, "It's not your day, Dad." Well, tomorrow was. And I planned to show up wearing my best flannel. With every receipt. Every document. And not a single ounce of regret. Court was fast. Faster than I expected. Brandon didn't speak. Katie looked like she hadn't slept in a week. The judge reviewed the paperwork. Looked at the contracts. Looked at the dates. Looked at me. You're not seeking damages? I shook my head. No, sir. Just wanted it on record. The judge nodded. Case dismissed. No money changed hands. But everyone heard the story. And that was worth more than a payout. Outside the courthouse, Katie caught up to me. Her voice was low, almost a whisper. Can we talk? I stopped. Turned. She looked tired. Older. Smaller. We lost the condo, she said. Brandon's parents won't help. We're moving into his cousin's basement. I nodded. Said nothing. She hesitated. Then, I'm sorry, Dad. The words landed. But not hard. They didn't sting. Didn't heal. They just sat there. Floating. I looked past her. Down the street. Fall leaves skittered across the pavement like everything trying to move on. You said I wasn't welcome, I said. Her eyes started to water. I know. I reached into my coat pocket. Pulled out the old photo, the one from the garage. Her, age 5. Swinging her legs on that little wooden chair, paint on her cheeks. I held it up. This is the last version of you that didn't treat me like a wallet. She stared at it. Silent. Then I turned. Walked away. Back home, I sat on the porch. The oak tree swayed in the wind. That little chair in the garage still sat there. Empty. Untouched. I didn't move it. Didn't fix it. Didn't burn it either. Just left it. Let it be what it was. A reminder of what I gave and what was taken. A week later, I got another letter. This time unsigned. Inside was a photo. Katie, holding the swing I'd built her. The caption on the back? I remember now. I didn't respond. I just set it in the drawer beside the old check I never sent. People ask if we talk. Sometimes. But not like before. Not like when her voice could still break my heart. Now, it's polite. Distant. And that's okay. Because I got my closure. I got my peace. And I got something better than being invited. I got to leave on my terms. Last week, a neighbor asked how the wedding went. I smiled. Quiet, I said. Didn't stay long. They laughed, not knowing the half of it. And me? I went back to sanding the porch railing. One hand steady. One heart finally still. Final dialogue. Todd came by. Set a 6-pack on the porch rail. You ever think she'll come around? I took a long sip of coffee. Doesn't matter, I said. I'm already gone.